Hey guys, good morning. Happy Saturday. It's Daryl here. It is coming up on 5 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. There's one other thing I wanted to talk about briefly first thing this morning is as you guys, I've told you guys, I go to a site called World of Meters. I'll put the link down below, but I've given it to you guys a few times already. It's a very reliable worldwide accounting of coronavirus deaths, new cases. Very accurate, no nonsense. It's got the relevant notifications from scientists, from the governors, from mayors, from the president. It has all the information. I find it to be the most trustworthy. Anyway, yesterday's numbers, Friday, April 24th, 2020. The final tally yesterday, new cases, 39,958 new cases Friday, 24-hour period, Friday, April 24th. And as far as I can see, that is the largest amount of new cases in any single day since this began. The largest amount of new cases for one day. New cases. What this means, I don't know. I'm presenting you guys with what I consider are 99.9% accurate facts. What does this have to do with people with these protests, with a second wave? I don't know. I couldn't, I certainly can't make that accusation, although it's going to take a few days to see. Could it be something with the recording of the deaths? I couldn't find anything that would justify it. I noticed too that Connecticut, we had 2,000 new cases in one day a couple days ago. I noticed Maryland, Michigan, and Illinois, Connecticut had very large, consistent large numbers for new cases pretty much for the last week. I was keeping an eye on that. I would go through all 50 states and look for the bigger numbers for new cases. And day after day, those states were posting unusually high numbers for new cases. Michigan, of course, is where that one of those big protests took place. Illinois, I'm not sure. Maryland, I'm not sure. I'll have to look into that. I don't know if there was widespread protests or what that could be attributed to. I don't know. Connecticut had over 2,109 new cases in one day, which is outrageous for a state of our size. Even being close to New York, it's still an extremely high number. And we didn't have a whole lot of protests here. We had one or two, one in Hartford, I believe, and I didn't see much more than that. There are people in the state complaining about wearing masks, of course, as with everywhere. The one thing here, as of Monday, this last Monday at 8 p.m., we are required to cover our mouth, our face with a mask or something similar if we're out in public. That's a new law, a new regulation. So yeah, that's just something that I wanted to talk about. Yesterday, Friday, the highest number as far this is by my own accounting. This is not a story that I read. It's me looking at the numbers, and 39,958 new cases yesterday, which is the most of any day since this entire thing began, and by a considerable amount too, by about 3,000 cases. So it's a big number. And like I said, I was looking for reasons. Sometimes they add in New York has an overwhelming number of cases. Sometimes they add in some, or they'll subtract some to keep the number as accurate as possible. But I didn't find anything like that. I didn't find any extenuating circumstances as to why the number was so huge yesterday. Uh, Something to consider. A second wave would be a bad thing for everybody. So that's one thing I try to keep an eye on that to see what's going on. But I noticed that with those states in particular, Illinois, Maryland, Michigan, Connecticut, um, seem to have very high new rates of new cases every day. Just an observation by me. Do with it what you will. All right, I'm going to continue on. I'll talk to you guys a little later. You guys have a good Saturday.